If I ask Singaporeans about the country having a monorail system, most of you would probably say, no. But you're wrong. Singapore has a monorail. In fact, the country had monorails, or at least Sentosa did in the 1980s. In this video, I will talk about the history of the Sentosa monorail and why was it scrapped to make way for a new one. Plans for the Sentosa monorail were unveiled on June 1979 when the Sentosa Development Corporation wanted to build a monorail on Sentosa Island as a greener alternative to bus services operating on the island. There was some criticism of the monorail system, especially by a nature lover, who feared that building the monorail would disrupt the peace of the island and the monorail itself would be a gimmick. The SDC responded a month later, assuring that the monorail would be as quiet and pollution-free as possible. Construction began in July 1980 before opening 2 months ahead of schedule on 23 February 1982 at the cost of 16 million Singapore dollars. When the monorail was completed, it attracted many tourists to Sentosa. In 1981, before the monorail's opening, the number of visitors to Sentosa was around 500,000. However, the next year, with the monorail's completion as well as the opening of several attractions on the island, the number of visitors nearly doubled to more than 1 million. However, in the early 2000s, this type of transport would come crashing down. Over the years, the monorail was plagued by maintenance issues, high costs and even passenger complaints as the train ride was uncomfortable and slow. With all the problems piling up, as well as the rapid modernization of Sentosa, the monorail line was closed on 16 March 2005 to make way for a newer monorail line known as Sentosa Express.
Did you know that the Surrender Chambers building near Fort Siloso was actually a monorail station? Yes, it was a monorail station that was repurposed after closing. In fact, it is the only station on the Sentosa monorail that is still standing as the others have been demolished. The new Sentosa Express opened on 15 January 2007 to bring people around Sentosa to explore the attractions on the island. Unlike the old Sentosa monorail, the Sentosa Express can bring people from the mainland as it runs between Vivacity and beach stations. Speaking of which, the terminus stations for Sentosa Express used a unique platform arrangement known as the Spanish solution. In this arrangement, 2 platforms, one on each side of the track, which allows for separate platforms for boarding and alighting. This arrangement is very effective at reducing dwell time, the duration a train, bus spends at a stop without moving, especially in stations with high passenger traffic. Which is not surprising considering the fact that metro stations with high passenger traffic use this arrangement. It is rare to find an MRT station with this arrangement in Singapore, with the only station using this arrangement being Choa Chu Kang LRT station. Vivo City Station is built near Harbourfront MRT station, but commuters who are transferring to Sentosa Express from the MRT should exit the station and proceed to level 3 of Vivo City Shopping Mall. Today, the old Sentosa monorail may be gone, but if you are lucky, you can find some remains of the line to prove that it existed like old monorail tracks.